In this exercise, exercise 3, we're going to practice some of the skills that we've learnt in this section on working with formulas. So for this exercise, we're going to be using the data on the Customer Data tab. So what I'd like you to do first is to calculate the total sales for all customers in column D. So this is what we're doing first, just calculate the number of sales based on the quantity and the price per item. I'd then like you to autofill that formula down. Next, I'd like you to calculate the sales tax for all customers in column E using the sales tax figure in cell I2. So we're calculating the sales tax in this column using the sales tax figure. And one thing to think about when you're doing this is think about whether you're doing absolute or relative referencing. I'd then like you to calculate the total including the tax in column F and then autofill that formula down. Then finally, just to make sure that your formulas are all updating, I'd like you to change the sales tax amount to 6% and just ensure that the values in the table update. Next, we're going to take a look at how you can use functions in calculations. So this section, we're performing calculations in this table just here. So the first thing I would like you to do is in cell I4, calculate the total sales. In cell I5, I'd like you to calculate the average quantity of items bought by each customer. In cell 6, I'd like you to calculate the minimum price per item. In cell 7, I'd like you to calculate the maximum price per item. And finally, in cell I8, I'd like you to calculate the total number of customers. So quite a bit to do there. See how you get along. And if you'd like to see my answer, then please keep watching. So the first thing I asked you to do here was to calculate the total in column D. So this is going to be a very basic sum calculation. We want to do the quantity multiplied by the price per item, close the bracket, Control Enter to stay in the same cell. I then asked you to fill this down, so we simply need to double click to copy the formula down. Next, I asked you to calculate the sales tax, and currently we have the sales tax listed over in cell I2. So again, this is a sum calculation. We're doing the total multiplied by the sales tax. Now, when we copy this down, we don't want that sales tax to move. So we need to make cell I4 absolute by pressing the F4 key. Close the bracket, Control Enter, and then we can double click to copy that formula down. The final calculation we need to perform here is just a very simple sum calculation where we add together the total and the sales tax. Close the bracket, Control Enter, and double click to copy the formula down. In the second part of this exercise, I asked you to complete the values in this smaller table. So the first thing I asked you to calculate were the total sales. Now, I didn't actually specify in the exercise whether I wanted you to calculate the totals excluding tax or including tax, so whichever one of these you did, that is absolutely fine. I'm going to do it excluding tax, so I simply want to do a sum calculation, and then I'm going to select Control Shift down all of the numbers in this column. Close the bracket, hit Enter, and there we have the total. Next, I want you to work out the average quantity. So we're going to use the average function, go to the quantity column, Control Shift down arrow, close off the bracket, hit Enter, and there we have the average quantity. Next, we're going to use the min function to work out the minimum price per item. So once again, click, Control Shift down arrow, close the bracket, hit Enter. Next, we want to do the reverse, so we're going to use the max function, the same column of data, Control Shift down arrow, close the bracket and hit Enter. And then finally, we want to work out the number of customers. So for this, I'm going to use Count A because I want to count text. So click, Control Shift down arrow, close the bracket, hit Enter, and I can see that we have 50 customers. The final thing I asked you to do was just to change the sales tax from 4.5 to 6%, just to make sure that all of these figures update. So in I2, I'm just going to type in 6, hit enter, and yes, I can see that everything has now updated.